Hey guys, welcome back to the show. When I left special operations, this was, 2012, November 1st, 2012, I walked out of those doors. Never to return. That's not true. I've been back since, but in a different capacity, I guess. But when I left, man, I was so done with just getting kicked in the dick every morning. Like I just felt like from the time I was 19 or 18, 19 until the time I was 30, 31, I was just waking up, getting kicked in the dick every single morning. And so it was very easy for me to avoid conflict. I was just like, I didn't want it in my life anymore. Avoid any sort of thing that was going to be uncomfortable because I felt like I earned it. You guys have heard me talk about hard over easy and, choosing the easy road and where that gets you. But I'm going to talk about it a little different. So the problem with what happened after I got out was this. I avoided things. And as you avoid things, and maybe it's an uncomfortable conversation, it's a workout, it's a diet, that avoidance snowballs. Just like when you do positive things, you go to the gym every single day, there is a positive compounding interest in your life. Well, for me, it became a negative compounding interest. It was going the wrong way. I was gaining weight. I was getting more depressed. And if you guys have read Excommunicated Warrior, you know some of the stories that are in there. And it just constantly started to get worse. So I want you to think about something here. I want you to think about avoiding. I want you to think about your life. A lot of you have chores. Maybe you have a honey-do list. You get done all your work all week. Friday, you're like, man, yeah, Friday, I'm going to relax. But the wife says, can you do this thing? Yeah, I'll do that thing. Okay. So you get off work and you're like, well, I'm going to knock that thing out. Well, I just got off. I'll do it Saturday morning. Maybe it's a conversation, maybe it's a chore, maybe it doesn't really matter what it is. It's just a thing. Saturday comes around, you're like, well, I'm Saturday morning, right? I'm having my coffee, I'm reading my book, I'm doing my thing, catching up on something, watching the kid play, I don't know, whatever it is that you do on Saturday morning. But it's not the thing that you need to do. And then Saturday gets away from you. Sunday comes around. You don't want to do it Sunday morning. By the end of Sunday night, you're like, oh, shit, I got to do this thing. I better go do that right at the end of the last minute before Monday morning comes around. Otherwise, you're going to hear it, right? You're probably hearing it already. Like, yeah, I'll get to it. But think about that feeling. That whole weekend, you had this monkey on your back. You had this thing, this gnawing thing that you needed to get done, but you just didn't do it. Think about how much better your weekend would be if you just did the damn thing. You just did the chore. You knocked it out. You're like, whew, now I can sit back and actually enjoy this time. Enjoy my workouts. Enjoy whatever I'm doing with the family. Enjoying my life for the time that I have off from work or whatever it is that you do, right? Get your money off. Get the monkey off your back. So yesterday I was talking about, yesterday in the Agoge in our mentorship call, I was talking about unmasking avoidance and overcoming self-sabotage. And I'm going to go into a little bit of that. And why do we shy away from the task that we need to do? What is happening in our brain? Well, it's a couple different things. Fear of failure, discomfort, maybe lack of self-confidence. So what happens when we avoid things is that avoidance compounds, whatever the thing is, right? So let's look at it from avoiding an uncomfortable conversation. So you're avoiding an uncomfortable conversation, and what's happening is that problem is compounding now. Okay? Maybe the other person is building a narrative in their head, of why something is going on. Like, well, I haven't spoken to this person about this person. Well, it's because they're doing this and this. And they're just making shit up in their head. You build a narrative. You're building a narrative. They're building a narrative. Next thing you know is you're building resentment. They're building resentment. And you just keep avoiding it, and it continues, gets worse. It's this negative snowball effect. When the reality is, if you just had the conversation, and I've had it before, I'm like, oh man, I'm avoiding this conversation with maybe a business partner or a friend or whatever, and I'm working it up way worse than in my head than it really is in the real life. And by the time I have the conversation, they're like, yeah, man, well, I thought this, and and it just turns out to not be a big a deal as it is. Or maybe it is a big deal, but it needs to be worked out. And the thing is, then you have the monkey off your back. It's done. You can move on with your life. But we don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't want to have discomfort in our lives. We don't want to, we have this fear of failure, but the reality is then you're stuck. You're completely stuck where you're at. And then the issue starts to compound. And it will just continue to compound until you just degrade your whole life. And you look back and you're like, what the hell is going on in my life? And it's simple as possibly just having an uncomfortable conversation. How do you grow? How do you grow in the gym? How do you grow in business? You push, you get uncomfortable. And that uncomfortability leads to growth. So we avoid. So instead of avoiding, I want you to lead into it. I want you to have that conversation. I want you to lean into the uncomfortable conversations. Because what's happening is this, and I heard a great man told me this the other day, and we're going to leave it at this. Typically, we have a person over here and we have a person over here, and there's a conflict in the middle, or there's this thing in between us. And maybe you can think about it with your significant other, right? You're over here, she's over here, and there's this thing, whatever that thing is. Unfortunately, statistically, it's about money. But instead, what if you guys were side by side and the thing was out here and you're confronting the problem together? It's not between you. You guys are neck and neck. You guys are confronting the issue together. Changes the whole perception of the thing. So I challenge you, whatever you're avoiding, whatever you're afraid of, do the thing that you're afraid to do. Have the conversation that you're afraid to have. Stop self-sabotaging your life. And if you need problems with that, or you'd like to have more of these conversations, click the link below. Let's have a conversation. Let's get you in the Agoge mentorship program. You guys know the deal. Never quit, never surrender. We always keep moving forward. See you guys in the next one. Peace.